This is the Throttle Out Show, presented by Vixen Industries, the only show where monster truck drivers and mechanics come together to present what's happening in the monster truck community. It's the ultimate combination of torque, horsepower, and trash talk. And now for your hosts. First, straight out of the heart of Detroit Rock City, it's Kid Rock's neighbor and former driver of the BKT ride truck. It's Austin Spences. And the duo deep in the heart of Texas, it's the show owner and daughter of a man who conquered the industry for over 20 years. It's Harley Johnson, along with everyone's favorite Bryce Kenny lookalike, Austin Tweedy. So go ahead, fuel up, strap in, and remember, when in doubt, throttle out.
Good evening, beautiful people, and welcome to the Throttle Out Show. It's good to be back. We had a nice little Christmas break. I know I had a great Christmas.
I had a good Christmas.
And it's good to be back. We're going to be doing some things differently from now on. Y'all saw on the thumbnail tonight, rest in peace to Wheels Up Wednesday. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Y'all, we're going to have a great show tonight. We got Brandon Overmeyer and Ron M.F. Maple from the American Outlaw Diesel Monster Truck team joining us in just a little bit. And then we got Cooper Knuckles back there in the back. What's up, Cooper? Where you at, big boy?
How's it going? How about them Cowboys?
Man, you have to do that, don't you?
We the champs.
Every time.
We the champs. We the champs. You know, 42-7 going into half and then finishing the game at 56-14.
Against the Redskins, Coop. Against the Redskins, okay? Nobody's impressed. I'm sorry.
Hey. 12-4, or it's 11-4.
I guess it's easy.
We
to
going
12-4 when you play a bunch of trash teams. But anyways,
I don't know about it. I don't know about it.
Let's get to talking about some good stuff. We also got the man Austin Spences join us, and he has a special guest tonight. And I'll go ahead and I'll let him introduce his guest. And just so everybody's in the clear, we are dealing with a little bit of an audio issue tonight. There's some echoing going on. We apologize in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, Austin Spences.
Kind of a little jumpy on the button there. So my guest actually asked to kind of wait until we start talking about other stuff outside of monster trucks. So he's just going to kind of be standing on standby. I think he's a little camera shy at the moment. He honestly doesn't know anything about monster trucks, so he just doesn't want to be sitting in the corner just kind of playing on his phone the whole time out of respect for everybody in the stream. So he will be coming on. I will be introducing him later. But until then, I think we should talk about some good old-fashioned monster trucks. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. It's good to be back. I hope everybody had a great holiday, great, Christmas. Everybody got some. As you can see, I got a new lid from my mother as a gag gift. Actually, I have a gift from my wife. I almost don't want to show it. Actually, you know what? I will, if you guys don't mind, switching the camera to someone real quick, and I'll grab the gift here in just a second.
If you come with me, I'll promote this amazing alcohol that I got for Christmas.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Let's do that.
Yo, not gonna lie, pretty happy with this alcohol. Proper 12 Irish whiskey, Conor McGregor's. I got it for Christmas. Little did I know, drinking it straight would feel like getting roundhoused by Conor McGregor.
Oh.
It's pretty good, though. I enjoy it. I have it with Mountain Dew right now, but it's a good whiskey. I recommend it for those who have not tried it. How's it going? Also, I'm glad someone recognized my hat.
Yeah, I don't recognize your hat.
Yeah, what's the meaning behind your hat?
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Once you figure it out, you'll know.
Okay.
We'll magically figure it out. Big American RC, our giveaway winner, Jeremy Parsons, Katie Spence. What's going on down there in the comment section? Y'all be active and lively tonight. We'll be excited to hear from y'all. It's been a week since we heard from y'all. Got a little bit of schedule change moving forward. Now, Spence, are you ready for the camera to get back to you?
Yeah, I am. The wife is waiting, so this is what I got from my lovely wife.
Nice.
Yo, there's a cat.
Best cat dad ever. Just ask. I think if I can go in order here, it's Mac, Oliver, Hammy, and Pumpkin. And it's actually like cartoons of all four of our cats. So thank you, honey.
Wow.
I'm sure everybody enjoys that.
Hey, just check it down in the comment section. Just making sure everybody can hear us. I know Gregory you're saying you got some audio issues. Is there anybody else down there struggling? Let us know before we get rocking and rolling. Now, something else. I guess one of the first topics of discussion I wanted to bring to notice tonight was, I guess, over Christmas break, the world's youngest monster truck driver, Shane Plato, had a birthday. He turned 14 years old. So, in case y'all don't know what that means, when he turned 14 years old, he's still the world's youngest monster truck driver.
It's
So
still hard to believe he's only 14 years old with all the stuff that he's already got to do.
So happy birthday, Shane. Hope you had a good one. Hope you had a Merry Christmas as well.
Dude, Tweety, did you get a little Christmas present from old Joe Sylvester?
I did, man. He sent us a nice care package. As Trump said, it was lovely, tremendous, wonderful care package, the best the world has ever seen. No, but seriously, it is awesome. Got these nice little cups and this hat, a couple other knickknacks y'all be seeing in the coming weeks. So huge shout out to Joe Sylvester and the High Octane Coffee Bad Habit Relapse Monster Truck team.
Huge shout out.
Huge shout out. Also tonight, we have got a lot of info to break down that was sent to us from Joey with Monster Jam King 29 on Instagram. I just want to say thank you for going behind the scenes and getting us the info on a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Now, y'all, I think right out of the gate, we should go ahead and bring on our guests over there in the Indiana. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some Cummins diesel performance. We're going to be talking about some monster trucks, the Hall of Fame, and everything in between. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time on the show is Brandon Overmeyer, but for the first time on the show is his boy, Ron M.F. Maple. What's going on, fellas?
How's it going?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Glad to
man.
be back.
It is good to see y'all. And, the last time you were on, Brandon, I don't think Spence was with us, so it was kind of the first time for, I guess, everybody together getting some FaceTime. And, Ron, it's the first time we actually get to chat with you, and it is great to have y'all on.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you letting us come on here.
So, first, right out of the gate, I want to talk about this, Brandon. Y'all put out a video a couple weeks ago about firing up an old tank that had been started in a while. I kind of want you to talk about that a little bit because I enjoyed the hell out of that video. Just kind of go a little bit into detail and talk about some behind-the-scenes stuff maybe we don't know, or just some other things about that tank video that you just want to shout to the world because that was entertaining as hell to watch.
Well, everybody knows Andy Hoffman Motorsports, from the Nightmare fame, and then he bought Jeff Cook's wagon truck, and then that tank actually come from Alan Pizzo back in the day, and he was telling me some history on it, how Alan had narrowed the thing and all this, and I don't know, he'd just been teasing me about it for a while, and I said, man, I think that'd be pretty cool to do a video starting that thing, kind of like a barn find video, since he hadn't got it out in 4 or 5 years. We were supposed to do it all summer long, and every time I'd call Andy, he'd have an excuse why not to, or he's busy, or this or that, or whatever. And finally, it was 2 days before he was scheduled to go to Hawaii. I called him and said, I'm coming to start that tank up, so be prepared. And that's what it took. So we went and got it running, and it was a good time. It was pretty much a day-long process. I mean, it didn't look like it in the video, but that's a piece of history. It was really awesome to be able to drive it. So.
Now, was the weather a factor where y'all were at? It seemed like it was about to, I guess, take off raining maybe or snowing or something in the video.
Yeah, I think I got over there before Andy was even out of bed. And there was rain forecast that day. That's why I could sneak away because of the tree business here. I mean, when it's raining, it's obviously not very safe to be out there in tree here. So it was the day I needed to be doing it. And we literally got it running just as it was starting to rain. And I took it back, driving something I never drove for the first time, stuck in the trailer with the light rain, threw up and did an outro and everything. But it fought us a little bit. Everybody thought it fired right up, but it's one of them things, expect the unexpected when you go to start something like that.
And editing is a very powerful tool.
Yes.
Something like that.
Exactly. So we got a girl that edits our videos that does a great job. Yeah. She cuts out a lot of the bad stuff that Ron says,
Which is very necessary.
Now, Ron, it seems to me that you have a history, I guess, in the diesel performance world, but as far as like messing with blown, alcohol injected engines, is that something you have experience with?
No. So actually, funny enough, all my experience in any type of diesel aftermarket world comes completely from this guy.
Okay.
been around him since probably 5,
4 or
6 years
5, I
old.
think. Yeah, he was a
So
young little guy.
everything that I've learned for the most part has come from him. I mean, I've learned a little bit on my own. I went and got my own Cummins engine certifications and stuff like that. But for the most part, especially when it comes to the aftermarket industry, it all comes from this guy. I've dabbled a little bit in other areas, but nothing to call myself an expert by any means. So
Now, Ron, you got a pretty poppin' TikTok last time I checked. I mean, when did you start that? And that's obviously been working out pretty well for you.
So I've had a TikTok for a while, probably I'd say like summer of 2019, but I was never really active on it. I just kind of post things here and there. I didn't take it real seriously, just mostly viewed other people's stuff. The first real viral TikTok that I had was actually our first YouTube video, a little behind the scenes thing with America, when I'd uploaded that we were gonna, go hood sledding behind this 1,000 horsepower truck, and that blew up pretty good. Started to gain some traction, and then I just went and I just kind of started uploading more of what we do here behind the scenes. And ones that got real popular here recently was I'd uploaded a cold start video of coming on, and somebody said, "Yeah, that looks pretty stock." And claim because I said it's 1,200 horsepower, like
Yeah,
that
I
looks
saw
pretty stock
that.
to me. And so like, yep, bone stock. So I made a video with that comment tagged, and I just showed the truck a little bit under the engine bay, and that took off a lot. And a lot of people wanted to see about the guillotine, the air shut off, and so I went and made a video explaining kind of how that works. That took off even more than the pulling truck video. It's one of those things where TikTok can be a great tool to take these videos off, and at the same time, videos that you think are going to do great, going to be real popular, real funny, whatever you want to say, then they just tank. They get like 100 views, and it makes no sense. So
I
it's
agree
just
with
one of
that.
those things you gotta kind of keep at it, and some of them will hit the algorithm and do real well, and some of them aren't going to do very good at all. So
Now, Cooper and Spence, don't let me steal the show over here, y'all. You all know I can talk a lot.
I mean, we go
Nah, you're
through
good.
this every week, Tweety. This is just how it is. We know this now. Um, so
really like
I
your
guess
hat.
since obviously you guys are really big into diesel and everything, my question is really, are you guys primarily just into Cummins diesels, or have you guys really messed around with other things as well, like Detroits, Caterpillars, or smaller diesels like even like Power Strokes or Duramaxes? Or are you guys strictly
Well,
Cummins guys?
more so towards the Cummins thing. I've had family members that have had Duramaxes, and Ron's worked on a little bit on all of them with his friends growing up through high school. And I've got an '82 VW Rabbit diesel turbocharged little truck, and we tinkered with that some and whatever. But for the most part, performance wise, we've made all our power and did cool things with Cummins.
when you know what's good and what works for you, you tend to stick with that.
Yeah,
So
Well,
exactly.
Man,
that's kind of something that I noticed because you guys come from the polling background. A lot of the guys that run like the street trucks, the only things you really see at these events are mainly a Power Stroke or a Cummins power plant. You hardly really ever see anything that's really a Duramax. So I just kind of, since I'm really green with the whole diesel side of things, I just know lots of torque, doesn't go real fast. That's really all I know. And there's always this constant battle between the three, Power Stroke, Cummins, and Diesels, especially in like the truck meets. But when it comes to actual performance and going to like pull a sled, it's mainly a lot of Power Strokes and Cummins. So I was just curious like why that may be, coming from somebody that knows nothing about diesel engines whatsoever.
Well, honestly, if you look at the six-cylinder Cummins-based engine, it goes clear back to like backhoes in the 1980s, late 70s. They designed this engine off of. So it's kind of like having a small block Chevy of the diesel world. There's been so many years of development, and parts are so much more readily available. To work on a Cummins is not only simple, it's more cost-effective, and it's just proven. So, you start dipping your toes into the Duramax and the Power Stroke territory. They're capable of making some power, but it takes pretty deep pockets. And yeah, and they just haven't been out as long as the Cummins has, is a big part of it.
well, not only that, but Cummins is not just 6 cylinders that goes in the pickups. They make everything from the 2.8 liter 4 cylinder they have as a Predator now all the way up to 95 liter, thousands of horsepower engines that go into, cruise liners and stuff. And they can take what has worked for those big engines and step it down to like the ISB 6.7 and 5.9 power plants that's in the pickup truck. And they know what works. They know what lasts. They know what's strong, and they can take that work. You got your Power Stroke and your Duramax. They're just, the 7.3, 6 liter, the 6.7, and your 6.6s. They don't go any bigger. They don't have any like industrial application for that stuff. So they don't have as much research and development as where Cummins does.
Now, I like where this conversation is going already. We should have had y'all on weeks ago so we get down to the nitty-gritty with stuff. But so let's talk about this, though. So we've seen that, you can basically perfect a Cummins-powered, diesel monster truck, okay? Monster Jam tried to go a completely different route with the Brodozer truck and use the Waggler Duramax combo, and they struggle with it. Let's just say they struggle with it. That's the nicest way of putting it. They had some issues with it when they first fired up the truck. It was supposed to come out in I think 2018, Didn't come out to 2019, right?
Yeah, it took a whole year to
Took
figure
a
it out.
whole year to get it figured out. And then when they got it, quote unquote, figured out, it wasn't figured out. But for the 2020 season, they basically had that thing running, firing on all cylinders. It was doing pretty well. But coming back to the Cummins world that y'all are familiar with, and y'all aren't, you don't have like the monster truck background. I'm not saying that you don't have any monster truck experience, but what I'm saying is y'all just came right onto the scene, and you've got, it took some testing, some tuning, changing the gearing and this and that, but y'all got to figure it out fairly quick. Just kind of talk. You don't have to necessarily, explain everything, the nitty gritty, but talk about your recipe a little bit, the testing, and approximately how long all that took with the American Outlaw diesel truck, anyways.
So its power plant right now is basically identical, minus a little camshaft upgrade to what is in our dirt drag truck America. And that engine is a very stock, uses stock injection lines. We tried to keep it as stock as we could and just put good injectors that fit the bowl of the piston, which we've learned on dyno from sled pulling trucks over the years. The hard way, by the way. We've changed a lot of things on dyno. That's where you really learn stuff. And we got a good pump, and we got a really good turbocharger set up. And it just worked so well in America. When I was thinking this up, I was like, why won't that work in a monster truck? It's very drivable. It makes pretty decent power, and so far it's been really reliable. So that, other than just having that engine setting here, was another thing that was a factor. But we just kind of we beat the tar out of America for a few years here, and it's been good. So we're like, why not do that setup?
We essentially did enough testing with America and the sled puller as well to take those aspects and be like, well, at least we have a baseline to go off of, and it's just worked really well.
Yeah, for sure. So and the Brodozer thing, I think what they were going for, from an outsider looking in, if you look at all the Monster Jam shows, or the majority of them, they're inside buildings, and they got that truck running very lean.
Yeah.
And Duramaxes are bigger cubic inches, obviously. They have more pulses. They have more cylinders, which means more valves, which means more pulses per revolution, which means it'll drive the turbocharger a little harder, and the lag will be less. And I think that's why they were going for that, was to keep it clean and responsive.
They're trying to make a diesel do what a diesel does not normally do, especially on the burning clean aspect of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that they went through one engine at least when we were out in first quarter, which really, I guess, isn't all that like diesel monster trucks are common, but my point is, you're not going to have issues like that with a Cummins, okay? But, like you said, they're trying to make diesels do what they're not really designed to do. They struggle with it. They found a recipe that worked for Monster Jam, and obviously, the driver, he picked up a little bit. He got better. But it is refreshing, and it's nice to see diesel monster trucks back in the sport. We haven't seen that in the independent world in a couple of years, since XTP left the scene, respectfully. Cooper, what you got to say back there in the back?
Shoot, when we're going to see some ZF corners underneath that diesel?
Oh my gosh, let it go, dude.
Listen, talk about you're never going to break. a housing ever again. If you just
Well,
a little bit of
you
money,
can't get a hold of them, can you? You got to make them now or something.
you have to make them. But listen, it's pretty simple. I'll send you
This
the
doesn't
blueprint.
sound very simple. I
Now,
actually
Brandon-
have
Okay,
been.
it's not that simple.
Hold on real quick. Brandon,
putting some
I wanted to
thumbs
ask
up
you
there.
this. We got a comment down below from Mr. Taylor Andes that says, remember, when in doubt, turbo out. Now, for all the people who are watching tonight who maybe aren't so familiar with diesels, or you got an interest in them, in the Cummins world anyways, Brandon, would there be necessarily a route to go for somebody in the, who's entry level into diesels that could get, a decent tuner or a decent turbo, a good starting point for somebody who, even like myself, just picked up a diesel and, want to do some tuning too. It's not a Cummins, but for somebody who is into that engine, what would be a good starting point for them to pick up a good tuner or turbo, or what would be the best starting point for them, y'all?
Well, it depends on the year of the truck. Like our old mechanical stuff is almost getting outdated. A lot of the stuff kids pick up today is all electronic. So there's good tuners in every variety if you do a search on the internet. But as far as turbochargers go, Stainless Diesel is who does our turbos. And if you call those guys up there, they have 3 or 4 knowledgeable guys that answer the phone, and you tell them what your goal is, and you tell them what you do with it, and what kind of power you're expecting, and they will get you a turbo that works excellent. I mean, not always the biggest is the best in that world. It's specing for what you're doing, and yeah, and it all just depends on your budget too, because if you put bigger turbo on, you need to kind of upgrade your fuel system. Things get out of hand in a hurry with diesels, as they do in anything. I think.
There's a very big snowball effect. As soon as you upgrade one thing, then you upgrade the turbo, now you need more fuel. Well, you got more fuel, well, now you need more air. So it's something that kind of goes hand in hand. And if you're starting in it and you want to actually make big power beyond something just like throwing on EFI Live, a tune or something, be ready to have your checkbook out and just be ready to be willing to spend the money on the good parts. Don't cheap out and short yourself and then melt the piston and be like, oh, well, blame it on the parts when you got eBay parts instead of talking to the right people and figuring out what you actually need.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to know what your expectations are and what you're shooting for.
And be realistic about it.
Exactly. So, we've actually had a truck that was going to be a stock truck when we started building it, and when we got done, it was twin turbocharged and it made 997 horse on dyno, and that was unrealistic. You split the block and bent all the rods, and you learn from that. So, but we don't have that on our video because that was before.
Of course. So y'all have been pretty big into the monster truck scene. It seemed to be working well for y'all. What you got going on with your YouTube channel? Are y'all going to be still, I guess, just as present in the pulling world as you have been in years past?
I don't know. I don't think so. When my son was born 3 years ago, I took a couple years off pulling, and then last year I put it back together, and then Ron actually got to pull it this summer one time, and pulling, like anything, can just get out of hand. You can only have so many expensive hobbies, and I don't know, since this monster truck deal come around, I kind of direct my time towards it. The puller's setting here, it's able to be loaded. If we want to go pull it somewhere, we might go pull, but I'm not going to spend all the money to upgrade like I would have every year. And when I say pulling's expensive, like the money I have in the monster truck this year would have been what it would have took to upgrade my engine in the pulling world to be competitive in 21.
Not even to beat anybody, just to stay with the crowd.
Exactly.
And you get to the point where you spend that much money and you put that much work into it every winter, getting ready for rule changes for the next season, that it's no longer fun. It just becomes work and trying to keep up with every single hook to keep competitive with points, and it just becomes work and it gets old pretty quick.
Yep. So it's a thing to where I'll always like pulling to a degree, and when I get in that truck and go down the track, I mean, it makes your heart pump and makes you want to go do it again. But at the same time, you got to step back and look at that you can only be good at so many things.
Now,
And,
Spence, are you over there looking up diesel parts as we're talking about all this, trying to get you some stuff delivered ASAP?
Damn it, man! Quit calling me out like that. Actually, it's something I've always wanted to do is a Cummins swap because I don't like to Dodge or like I don't want to say I don't like Dodge, but basically living in Michigan, Dodge trucks don't last long at all here. I don't know what it's like down there in Indiana, but basically Dodge pickup trucks look like Swiss cheese. But the drivetrain is really where the money's at. But I love Fords, and I've always wanted to do like a Cummins swap, like a 12 valve or maybe like a 24 valve swap. Nothing against Power Strokes, but like you were saying, like Cummins has stayed with the same platform for years, and Ford went from an IDI to a Power Stroke. You had the what was it, the 6.9, the 7.3, the 7.3 Power Stroke, then the 6-liter, and it just went on and on and on. They never kind of stuck with one thing. So I always like the idea of owning a Cummins. I just don't want to invest in a Dodge where the dash is cracking and the body is barely holding on to the frame, or even the frame's rotted out. And basically all I'm buying is an engine. So, yes, I am kind of looking around at parts and stuff as a future project. But kind of going back a little bit about, the Cummins being the small block Chevy of, the diesel world, is the 4BT the same thing as like a 12 valve just minus 2 cylinders, or is that a completely separate block, completely separate operation, and they just kind of, went off of something different?
They literally took the 4B Cummins before it was even turbocharged in like the case backhoes and the industrial applications. It wasn't even 4BT yet, and they added 2 more cylinders on it, and that's where they got the 6B from. And then they turbocharged both applications to find more power and make them more efficient. And I mean, bore spacing is the same. I mean, you could cut 2 cylinders off of a 12 valve head and stick it on a 4BT if you cut it straight enough. So
You're literally just minus 2 cylinders or minus 2 liters because the 4BT 3.9 versus your early 6BTs of the 5.9. So yeah.
Yep, it's really cool that the parts interchange. I mean, it's and 4BTs are really good engines to swap, very desirable. And I own a couple of those myself, but I got projects that I've been thinking about, like Spence talking about. I've never got to them yet.
Now, Brandon.
No, I just remember there was this guy that had a six. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, the reason I was talking about the 4BTs because I remember someone had an old like F100. I think it was like a '69 Ford F100 street truck, and had a 4BT with a manual transmission swapped up to it. I mean, it wasn't the fastest thing by all means, but the dude was saying that he was averaging around 40, 50 miles per gallon in a classic old street rod. So, I mean, you got a little bit of torque and you also got fuel mileage. I mean, that's honestly, I'd rather spend the money doing that than buying some crappy hybrid hatchback.
Exactly. And that's what diesel's all about is torque. I mean, they run on torque. They don't run on horsepower. So we try to turn this monster truck enough RPMs that we do use some horsepower, just because if you use horsepower instead of torque all the time, you're going to break less stuff. A Cummins is like a 1,200 foot-pound impact driver, or they don't give up. So, yeah. I have a question. This Poof, how far from Tom Mintz is he?
From where?
Cooper.
Yeah, where are you at from Tom Mintz? I was just over there the other day, like Cissna Park, Illinois area.
Oh, that's only a couple 30 minutes, if not. It's all the way in Paxton. It's a little small town. You won't miss them if you go looking for them.
Yeah, there you go. I knew we had to be pretty close. We're about an hour and a half apart.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's a decent drive. You can go learn about the ZF corners.
Oh my gosh, Cooper, let the ZF go.
You can come over here.
That works too.
Trading information. We'll teach you about diesels and you teach us.
Yeah. You can
right.
work on our diesels and we'll work on diesel engines. So.
Maybe.
We don't have ZFs though.
Well, that's the downfall, though.
Yeah, but Cooper's still good with regular old Clarks and whatever else.
Oh, I'm golden. I'm like the best there ever was.
You got to think about it, Brandon and Ron. This boy was up there at Paxton at Monster Jam University, where all these newer drivers are coming to town, learning how to drive for the very first time, out there wadding their shit up, and Cooper's out there getting them back ready in time for freestyle. But Brandon
we made
and Ron,
that diesel
I want to
truck
thank y'all
better.
for joining us for dealing with the audio issues, the echo, the delay, and all that stuff tonight. But thank you so much for coming back on, explaining a little bit more about the diesel tech world. And I just got to say, I love y'all's page. You're informational enough, but it's not like you're like informational enough to where you're boring people as you're watching stuff. You really keep us engaged and entertained in everything that y'all put out there. And I love what y'all got going on. So we'll still be staying in touch with y'all, supporting y'all in any way that we can. But thanks for coming on tonight, guys.
Thank you. I got one other question.
Yo,
What hit us?
How
with
many
it.
hair colors has Harley had while this show's been on? Have you went back and looked at that?
say that again.
How many different hair colors has Harley had while this Throttle Out show's been active?
Too many to count. Too many to count.
But what's funny is while we're sitting there, we're talking about 4 BTs, we're talking about 12 out. I had the audio muted, and Harley goes, I have no idea what y'all are talking about over here.
I know.
But this has been great. Thank y'all, boys, for coming on tonight. And we'll be seeing y'all in the future, probably sometime maybe after first quarter's over. Maybe we
Probably,
get to
yeah.
hanging out with each other once it warms up a little bit. You know, we will migrate further north. Maybe we'll come hang out with y'all.
Yeah, sounds good, man. We're going to have a handful of shows around here next year. We're going to have this thing out. When first quarter starts and everybody's putting their stuff back together, we're going to start working on ours. That's how things work around here.
Don't be
So,
scrambling last minute.
Yep. We actually had it out last weekend and jumped it. We're going to try to get it out this weekend and do a little bit more testing in the snow out back here. That way nobody's out watching us.
Now, Brandon, the name of your YouTube channel is what?
America-TV.
Okay, and Ron, your TikTok is what?
Ron MF Maple.
Ron MF Maple. Boys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be seeing y'all around. Peace out.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Catch you later.
Bye.
All right.
guys.
First of all, y'all been hanging out with us. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We are not even halfway through. We got a long ways to go. I got a couple other topics, I guess, Spence, that we can discuss before you bring Gage on, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine. He's just kind of checking on his Tinder right now, so I think he's preoccupied.
Uh-oh.
All right. So first of all,
We are live.
we are live on the air. I've got my Homer Simpson PJs on, and we are comfortable. We're ready to rock and roll. Y'all saw tonight that this is possibly the last ever Wheels Up Wednesday episode. And
I thought this
why.
is the last ever Wheels Up
This
Wednesday.
is what?
This is.
Our last episode of the year.
We're going down with a ship.
Yeah.
It'll be done any moment. There it is.
Wheels Up Wednesday is officially over as of today because we are moving to Monday nights and Thursday nights here on the Throttle Out Show. Still 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
If you
on
didn't
the
understand
channel.
that, he said Monday and Thursday nights.
Monday and Thursday is what I actually
No one
said.
understands what kind of accent
Thursday.
you're saying right
Thursday.
Could you choose an accent and just make
Yeah.
the announcement already?
What? How did y'all not understand him?
Cooper speaks my
I
language.
understood
He
him
gets it.
perfect.
Anyway, yeah. So the whole
Paxton.
reason why we're switching is because we noticed when we would go over weekend results that we'd be doing our Sunday show, and well, there's events and everything that's still going on, and we want to be able to give you guys the play-by-play through everything that's happened throughout the entire weekend. So we decided that would be just better to have kind of like a review show and moving it to Monday instead. So, and then Thursday, there's shows that have been starting on Friday, so kind of moving it back a little bit instead of, doing Wednesday, we're pushing it back another day to Thursday. So hopefully this works out a little bit better for everybody's schedule, after and before going into the weekends for everything from, well, actually not just monster trucks here before too long. So just kind of going over everything. So that is the whole main reason why we were switching our schedule up. We hope it works for everybody so that way you guys are able to tune in more. It's not interfering with your schedules on the weekends. So yeah, that's the whole main reason why we're switching.
I mean, Spence,
But,
you know
anyway.
damn well we're going to have crew guys and drivers who'd like to be able to join us on Sunday nights, and they can't, so we move it to Mondays, and maybe we get more crew guys and drivers on as well. So I think it'll be
Yeah,
good.
like
It's
Brad.
Monday nights. It's going to be the same nights as wrestling. Sorry about that. I know I'm a wrestling fan as well, but I do think this will work a little bit better for us. our feng shui be a little bit smoother, and then obviously we'll get more info out there. You know, a lot of people aren't sharing videos of shows, you know, while they're at the show. It takes a day or two, so maybe we'll get some more footage to share. And so there you have it.
Yeah.
Mondays and Thursdays now, we will be going live instead of what we have in the past.
Yeah. So with that being said, is there anything monster truck related that we want to cover and kind of go over? Because I know there's a couple topics that we definitely need to touch on.
There is, and I'll let you go ahead and guide us into what you're thinking of right now, big guy.
Oh,
sorry, I had something up my nose. Anyway, Amy Hood
did that
coming
very
back
weirdly.
to Monster Trucks.
What?
Yeah.
I get it now.
What do you mean she's coming
Brad
back?
Cooper gets the joke. Amy Hood apparently is making a comeback.
What do
and is
you
gonna be touring
mean?
with Trainwreck, which is honestly
Why?
kind of fitting.
Wait, is she independent?
She's going to in an independent team in
Oh my
Canada,
God.
which I think the
Just
name is
in
fitting
Canada?
that she is going to Trainwreck, like the truck Trainwreck. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the name of
shook.
the truck. It is Trainwreck, and
It fits.
I don't know if this is a permanent thing. If she's just filling in for what maybe a show, Spence.
I don't know. I personally I don't care for Amy Hood, and obviously for those that don't know, I love seeing everybody saying sniff, sniff, stiff. Yeah, you guys get it. You understand. But that's just yes. Okay, honey. Okay, but before we go any further, HR is in the
She's
comments.
already
calling
yelling
you
at me.
after your
out,
ass.
Spence. She's calling
I
you out.
had a whole ordeal where I was gonna get powdered sugar and everything and do a
Okay,
whole
that's giving it
spiel,
away
but
a little too
HR
much.
was HR was threatening to put me on the couch or even put me outside in the snow. So sorry, honey,
Is it
I had
snowing
something in my nose. But anyway, you can kind of piece together why we don't really care for Amy Hood all that much. But seeing that someone even really allowed her to get a spot back in a truck, and knowing what this industry is about, kind of shady, kind of sketchy. I don't trust her whatsoever.
She's
And honestly,
not the best.
kind of went into Monster Jam's whole dilemma where they just want people that are pretty faces and have a following or whatever on social media. I mean, Tweety, you remember when they tried to hire a porn star?
Yeah, I do. I
What?
remember that fairly
What?
well.
I don't remember that.
Yes, you do.
Who?
And Coob, yes, you
Who?
remember too. You were
Who?
there.
No, I was never there.
Yes, you
She never
were.
made it
No,
through the
her-
training track.
Yes, she did. We were there
Who?
together.
Yeah.
this?
So
Text-
I can't remember her name, but
Text
her
me
name
right
was
now.
like Jackie something. She made an announcement on
Oh,
Instagram.
Jesus Christ.
What?
No, she's a great woman. You respect her.
I don't know who she is. Unless,
She is actually-
Cooper, you're just what?
She's like, she'd kick my ass easily. She could toss you all around like a rag doll. She's pretty sweet.
Well,
you know
I understand that,
have
but
you ever
she doesn't
seen
know
the
her
movie
lips look
Battle
good.
Shield
Yes.
or Battleship?
Battleship.
Yeah.
So the character that Rihanna played was based off of her.
Wasn't Battleship
she was-
a fictional story?
No. So on like a Navy SEAL, I think that's what it is. Because she was one.
Joey
and
coming in clutch again. Jackie Marizosa, however the hell you
she's
pronounce
pretty
it.
sweet.
Whatever.
Check her out on Instagram.
Sure, but yeah, the whole thing was like everyone in the shop's like, who the hell is this girl? No one even heard of her, and Tony Oaks was kind of upping her on social media. So we do a quick Google search. First link that pops up is from Pornhub. Yeah, not a
Okay.
good way to go into a company that's
It was
about
a
entertaining
music
children
video.
with big trucks.
Did you
was a
say it was a
music
music
video.
video?
No, it was. No,
It was a music video.
It was a music video. It was a music video that was just right there at the
It
surface
was a
level
lot.
of, maybe this shouldn't be on the internet. It was.
Well, that was only the first time she got fired, and then they brought her back.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was that reason. Then she came back. Then an Instagram video with some guns came out, and Monster Jim's like, "Whoa, that's not cool."
Whoa, tits
Guns
and
aren't
guns?
cool.
We can't have that.
Yeah, literally.
What is this, Hooters
And
in
then-
Texas? No.
Because she was at the training track, and we just got her fitted in the seat. And then she goes, "Well, I'm out again. See you guys." And we're like, "What the hell?" But I mean, we weren't too mad because that was just one less truck to take care of.
Now, this is all stemming from Amy Hood coming back into monster trucks. Like I said, we don't know if it's going to be for a full blown out tour or if it's just for a couple of shows maybe, but it's going to be up there in Canada driving Trainwreck. Something else to kind of go over briefly is it looks like Bone Shaker will have a new driver on the European Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Tour in Jonathan Elkins, who is most famously known for driving the Terminator monster truck. So congratulations, Jonathan, for getting that seat. I don't know if he's driving the Terminator chassis or if he's driving somebody else's truck, but he will be driving Bone Shaker overseas. Then we got over here in the Americas, we got Buddy Tompkins and Raising Cane will be driving on the All-Star Monster Truck Tour, which I believe this is his first time being on the All-Star Tour, if I'm not mistaken. But also, we have got Corey Snyder will be driving on that tour as well. Corey's been on the air with us before. We need to get him back on. Then Brandon and Michaela Tolochka. That is a brother and sister team. For the first time ever on the All-Star Tour, there will be a brother and sister team on the All-Star Tour. So be looking forward to keeping up with them. Now, something else I wanted to bring up. We got two more topics, I think. Two more topics that I want to break up. Maybe three more. Okay. Let's talk about how Monster Jam is moving to MAV TV. This announcement was made. This isn't like new news, like this week or whatever, but Monster Jam is moving to MAV TV. Now, I want to bring this up mainly because I'm pretty upset about it. Now, in recent years, Monster Jam went from being on Speed TV to being on FS1. FS1's a little bit difficult, excuse me. It's a little bit more difficult to watch FS1 versus Speed Channel. So they went to FS1. Then they went to NBC Sports, which was even more difficult to find. Now they're going to MAV TV. So I was like, okay, well, I've heard of MAV TV. I watched the Lucas Oil off-road thing on our TV. We got a series of free channels we could watch, and there's always this. It's called MAV TV Select. Okay, that's most likely what Monster Jam is not moving to. They're going to MAV TV's paid service. So Harley and I tried to look up yesterday how much this service would cost us. We started running the numbers. You can watch MAV TV through Hulu, but it's the live sports package. That package will cost you $70 a month to watch.
I did it.
You can also get YouTube TV, which costs you $65 a month. You used to be able to get it through Fubo TV, and I think Fubo dropped them.
What is
Fubo is $70 a month. Or you could also get it through MAV TV's app on the phone for, I think, $7-8 a month. Now, the catch with that is, if you get that app on your phone, you download it, you can watch it, Monster Jam or any of the other things that shows that MAV TV has to provide. You can watch it on your app. Now, what I was able to read in the comments, you cannot cast from your phone to the TV in order to watch that. So it is going to be almost physically impossible to watch Monster Jam.
Now, there is a comment here from Levi saying the MAV TV deal are just reruns.
Well, every Monster Jam show is a rerun because they don't do anything live.
Well, I mean, that's true.
But does this mean, we're not going to get, first quarter on TV anymore? Is that what it means?
Probably not.
That's
not
what
unless
I'm
you pay almost $80 for it. There's no point. It's amazing to me that Monster Jam can't make a deal like all these other motorsports. Like NHRA here is on Fox and FS1 throughout the entire season. NASCAR flip-flops between NBC and Fox, whatever, through the entire season. And yet, the biggest form of monster trucks, you have to go through almost a completely separate subscription service. This is going to completely hurt them. There's going to be hardly anybody that'll watch Monster Jam on TV. I honestly think because of this deal, you're going to see a substantial drop in fan attendance at shows solely because of this deal. Because I don't know if you guys remember when there was a hiatus period where there wasn't a TV deal for Monster Jam, there was hardly anybody showing up to shows. If there's no TV coverage whatsoever for monster trucks, nobody shows up to shows. I mean, thank God for social media, don't get me wrong. But that is essentially what Monster Jam is gambling, is their social media following to kind of hold them up for 2022 if MAV TV is the only TV coverage that they have. So I don't think it's going to work for them in their favor whatsoever, not to mention every single channel that Monster Jam has been a part of has died. So this may very well be the soon-to-be death of MAV TV. So
There's no reason why Monster Jam can't get this figured out. I don't understand why it's so difficult for them to
Well,
get
there's
back
still
to
that possible deal of
Yo.
them moving to USA Network.
That's still
with
possible?
NBC.
They need to do
SN,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. That would be huge
Also-
for them.
I haven't seen it been confirmed yet, but that's still a possibility, I guess, if they renew the contract.
Also,
I mean, the only way, and sorry, Coop, I don't mean to cut you off, but the only
no,
way
you're
this
good,
would
bro, you're
really
good.
be good for anybody, this would be, obviously good business for MAV TV just getting in their foot in the door with Monster Trucks and Monster Jam. But Coop, go ahead.
all right. So I don't know if you saw that comment right there by where'd it go? It went up pretty fast. Where'd it go?
Which one?
Oh, Taylor and Andy's. Is I saying his name right?
Yeah, Taylor Andes.
Adidas.
All right, Tweety. I don't know if you remember at that summit meeting where they talked about a Monster Jam Plus,
Yes.
but I completely forgot about it.
I thought
There
that
was a meeting about a Monster Jam.
They were
Plus?
gonna
Is that
do
it?
a Monster Jam Plus,
Oh my gosh.
but I think the big effect happened in the world, and it really put that money in the pocket and caused a lot of problems. So I think that's why they moved to YouTube, like the way they did, which brings up another way to I don't know why they don't actually post the the shows on their YouTube and make it to where it's members only, which could either be $5 to $9 a month, where they could turn their YouTube channel into a Monster Jam Plus, because they basically already did that. Now just add their most recent shows and you're good to go. You can even live stream it probably somehow. You got to. Everyone does it. On your channel, make it members only, so you pay like $9.99 a month and you can watch the video on live stream, or you can watch any past live event at all. It's amazing why their marketing team is so garbage, and who's ever up on their top floor making the decisions for TV shows, unless it's a money deal, then they know more about me, but god dang, they're awful. The marketing team needs to be fired, rehired with some new people who know what's going on.
Amen. I couldn't agree more with you. I think, honestly, something that they fear, and they can't understand this. I think they fear if they change the majority of the way that you view their shows on TV through YouTube Plus, say it's a $10 a month membership or whatever. I think they fear that more people would lean towards that, and they would rather do that rather than come to the shows. I think that's something that they fear, but I don't think they understand that if they did that, they would have so many more people, more than just fans, wanting to be a part of that. You would have still your crew guys, your drivers, all these guys.
I got it. Holy shit, Cooper, you're onto something. We're gonna create this is $1 million idea. Monster Jam, we know you're watching. Only jams.
Go Cowboys.
Only jams.
No!
It's a Monster Jam only subscription service. Only jams. Come on. We're giving you the tools. Freaking run with it. Come on.
I know
That's
they're
gonna be a
watching.
T-shirt.
Yo, speaking of people who are watching, you see Hannah Mintz down there?
What up, Hannah?
Yo,
Cowboys.
do you think she'll ever drive?
Hannah? Come on, Hannah.
Yeah.
Get strapped in,
Do you
Hannah.
think she will?
See her line up against Kristen. Let's see it.
I mean, God forbid she might announce something Friday.
Hannah needs to
really?
get a driver's seat, and she needs to race Colton, kick his ass.
Yeah. Words.
Anyway, again, we're not.
Yeah,
bashing
maybe
on Monster
watch
Jam.
out for
I
that
just feel like
Friday.
this is a poor direction for them. Like, they could totally be doing something better to benefit them. But the MAV TV thing seems like it's going to be a huge shot in the foot for them. I really need to stop drinking.
Only jams. That's a new T-shirt.
Only jams.
Now, something
I like
else
it.
that was
Monster
announced, I don't
Jelly.
think we've got to discuss just yet. Gravedigger's 40th anniversary special encore was announced.
Oh, yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
Garbage.
Yep.
You know what's
Yep, I
better?
agree.
What will be better?
What?
I swear to God, if you say
Actually,
Tom
I don't-
Jumps over the grave
No,
diggers.
listen. Their encore, if it is worse than the the Max D encore we did with all three trucks supposed to do a forward momentum backflip, and it all went to shit. If they cannot top that, They need to stop with encores. 'Cause it is garbage.
I mean, honestly, was that the same encore that Tom came out on the big like dump truck with the blackout Max D?
Correct. The best truck ever.
I would have to agree with you, Coop. That the blackout Max D should have been more of a season. I would have loved to see blackout Max D more than Fire Max D. Fire Max D overstayed its welcome by about a year and a half.
Yes.
Word.
But they bought so many bodies that they had to use them all. So it's, I mean, they won't waste any money. God forbid we bought all these flares, 190 flares, and then they're like, throw them away.
Now, one last thing I want to talk about before we can bring Gage on is we talked about this Monster Jam East Coast Arena Tour, how interesting that is.
That big mess of a tour.
We've got Weston
Oh,
Anderson.
you mean the musical chairs tour?
Yeah.
We've got Weston Anderson coming to the tour. Now, y'all, this is absolutely no disrespect, no heat, nothing to Weston Anderson or the Gravedigger team. My prediction that tour was Weston would not win the tour. I didn't think he would win the tour because he's obviously going to be a newer driver in the arena where he comes from the mega truck world. Being outside, he's got to learn how to channel it. That's a lot of pressure on a young individual. So I didn't think he would be somebody in the running, of winning first place on that tour. However, now seeing that the way this tour is going to operate, or, obviously this rotating door of drivers coming in, your point system, like the points are going to stay with that driver, with that truck. Okay. So you're going to have new drivers basically every weekend on that tour, which means the only people with consistent points on that tour as of right now will be Weston, Cody, Brianna, and Chad Tingler. Okay?
Isn't Armando on that tour?
And Armando. Those are the only people who are going to have consistent points on that tour. So anybody else involved with those shows, their points aren't going to be consistent, which means it's going to be easier for Weston or for anybody else on that tour to be up there in first place. And I think if we're going to talk about somebody who's going to be a sleeper on that tour, maybe the underdog of that tour, I think it's going to be Armando. Armando has been consistently getting better. He does well in stadiums. He's been getting a lot better at two-wheel in the past year. I think Armando will be the sleeper on that tour.
He's going to win? You predicting that?
He's going to win it. He's going to win it. I would bet $1,000 on it that he was going to win.
Damn, I wish I had $1,000.
I have too many to gamble.
I think the way Monster Jam runs their fan voting system, you're going to see a lot of people voting for, Gravediggers. You're going to see a lot of people voting for El Toro. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people voting for Cody Saucier and Dragon. I just don't think that's a very popular truck. Sorry, I love Cody, but I don't think that's a very popular truck. You take him from Monster Energy and you downgrade him to Dragon, I think that's going to hurt his scores a lot with the way that Monster Jam runs their scores.
Okay. I see what you're getting at, Tweety. You're thinking that it's going to be just the truck, but are we forgetting that Tristan England probably has one of the worst-looking Monster Jam trucks, and he's still able to whip ass in a tour?
You're not wrong. You're absolutely right.
That's a good-looking truck.
No, it ain't. It's blocky and literally looks like a freaking toddler in preschool. Just took a couple blocks. Like, yeah, you met the truck. And
we got pool noodles on the side. We got pool noodles. We won't sink. We're going to float.
Got pool noodles.
I don't know if they're pool noodles anymore. I know they can't be.
I wholeheartedly believe in Cody Saucier walking that tour. Just saying. I think it's going to definitely be Cody Saucier taking the win in Tour East.
What was Taylor's comment about?
Who knows? What is it this time?
It's about Cynthia and Lindsay.
Oh, boy.
I'm confused.
Do you think Cynthia will take over for Lindsay Wink? Oh, it went away. Oh, for Crash Madness and Racing, where she'll flip over a container.
I'm confused.
I don't know. Taylor, you might need to send us that video because I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a Hot Wheels event?
I don't know, man. I think she's got a lot on her plate coming into the first quarter, and we'll talk about that more on another time, because I think it's time we finally get to talking about some drag racing. Spence has got a guest.
Yeah!
He's about to be his new teammate, a longtime friend of Austin Spence. Spence, why don't you go ahead and bring him on?
So I've known this guy since literally high school. His nickname for the longest time was actually Freshman. So we've gotten a lot of trouble over the years with each other. And it's awesome to see that after almost 10 years out of being in school, he's actually going to be my coworker and my teammate, along with obviously one of my best friends. So this is my buddy Gage Wenzel. So,
slide in.
you're way back there, dude. So, anyway, yeah, thank you for finally coming to an event that I'm hosting. You know, a big event. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Thank God you didn't skip out on this one.
Oh yeah, wait till you go drag race and you'll figure out why I missed your wedding.
Oh, it's a fun time.
No hard feelings.
I'm sure your wife is watching. I am terribly sorry. He's ours now.
So I kind of wanted to go through, like, you know, you and I have known each other for years.
Unfortunately.
Well, hey, it's not all that bad.
Roasted.
No, it's not. So I kind of want to kind of start from the beginning a little bit, and you know how we kind of just became friends. Because going into my senior year of high school, I quit playing football. Like, I just got kind of tired of playing it, going out, being second string, getting my ass kicked every day.
I just noticed Levi's comment. Them Capco boys.
That's the guys we're going for.
Steve Torrance, yeah, he runs pretty good.
Decent.
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that car runs.
We'll shoot him down. But anyway, get back, going back a little bit. So, in high school, I decided I didn't want to play football anymore, and we had an auto shop program, and they actually had this old small block 350 just kind of laying in the back, and we were kind of the few kids that actually gave a damn about automotive, because everybody else in that class was essentially a bunch of stoners or potheads.
Debatably.
Allegedly, yeah. There's a bunch of kids that just rather screwed off and did whatever and not really cared much about, you know, working with their hands and working on cars. So we decided to, well, actually, before you came in, I was a junior. We started a drag racing club, and that was just an absolute mess. And I didn't know this until I met you, that your dad actually had a hand in painting that old Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know until I got to meet your dad for the first time that they just...
Oh, no, our high school pimped my dad twice. They had him build it or paint a car for him before I went to school there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ruined that. And then we tricked him into painting another car for the high school.
Right.
And then that class ruined that. Oh, look, it's a General Mayhem.
So, I don't know why you're putting up the wrong car right now. But anyway, so this was your high school car.
Oh,
This
yeah,
was after I left. So
Still have it.
you still have this old car. But anyway, so we kind of started drag racing, and going in my senior year, we decided to build a different car that was donated to us. That was a 96 Chevy Caprice ex-cop car. And there was nothing really special about it. It was a bone stock LT1. You know, I think we did a tune-up, maybe an air intake, and took the sway bars out of it and called it a race car. And then
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
basically made it paint
It
nice.
was really bad.
Yeah, we painted it nice and threw some decals on it. And I still have the car. Like, I still have the gutted shell that was our car in high school just sitting outside in the yard right now that we'll eventually put together. But anyway, so kind of want to talk a little bit about, you know, after I left, you know, you kind of, yeah, that was what the car
So
originally
bad.
looked like.
It's so bad. Oh, God.
But this was the whole process. So I was working at Burger King actually at the time. And anytime I had time off school, I would come straight over to the body shop. This is Gage and our other good friend, Bones. And we were able to get this thing painted up in a flat black color. I mean, it looked like a really cool car when it was all said and done. But, I mean, it did, 16 seconds in the quarter?
I don't know. Apparently, I don't know how to put a time on a window, so...
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about that?
Oh, I'd love to talk about
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
remember that time where you had a friend that has been drag racing his entire life, and you came up to me and you were like, hey, so I ran 3 1610s in a row. What do you think I should dial in the car? And I was like, probably 1610. And then our auto shop teacher, who had been drag racing for the length of time that we were at the track that day, was like, oh, no. Oh, I'd put like a 13, or what do you say, like a 1650 on it.
Yeah.
And went down and thing ran 1610, and you would have won that race if you didn't break out.
So
But I don't know what I'm talking about.
so we literally built this car. Like, any kind of free time we had, we would be working on this car for the local drag strip. Would have the high school drag nationals, where basically a bunch of high schools would come together, students represent their school and go drag racing, well, bracket racing. So it's not about, you know, first across the track. It's about consistency, you know, having a consistent time, because not everybody has a 1,000 horsepower daily driver. So I mean, it was fun. It was a great way to get into it. But after I left, to my understanding, you won with the S10, or was it 6B or Jacob?
No, I won.
You won. Was that the very last year?
I won it 2 years.
2 years in a row.
Both junior and senior year, when I got my driver's license, I swept the high school nationals.
With a 4-cylinder S10.
Yes, it was awesome. They ran like 19 seconds at like 52 mile an hour.
And
it was bad.
And you still won.
Oh, yeah.
Still has the trophy.
It's easy to judge when a car is coming when you're going that slow. You're like, oh, hey.
There he is.
Yeah.
Now, Gage, I got a video over here that Spence sent us before the show. Spence, should I go ahead and play that video now and let Gage kind of explain that?
We'll get into that a little bit, because right now we're moving forward a little bit, because
I kind of like where he's going. I'd rather talk about fun race cars.
Well, we are because
we used to work on.
Well, right, but that's what I'm building up to, because we literally built garbage. And now
we built big time garbage.
Oh yeah, we literally we built garbage before shitbox was an official term on social media. Like it was bad.
There's things that I've done in my past that I am not proud of.
So kind of moving forward after high school, I kind of want to talk about probably one of the most well-known shitboxes probably out there in all of social media. You actually had a hand in helping build General Mayhem for the first ever Roadkill night. So talk about your time at Diversified and like that whole process of taking a Hellcat drivetrain and shoving it into a 69 or 70? 69 Dodge Charger.
Well, I'll tell you this, and Tweety and Cooper, you guys, I mean, you've been in the monster truck world. You know what it's like, working for basically a TV show, right?
Somewhat.
Doing a car build for a TV show is a completely different thing. It is like, it's everything. It's just hectic. You go from, okay, the film crew is going to be here in a day and we have no parts, to you show up to work the next morning and there's 4 semi trucks in the back dumping off literally everything at one time. And yeah, so it doesn't flow. And then like, it's not, I shouldn't say TV car building staged, right? But there's a lot of, everything that we do actually happens, and a lot of it, for the most part, like in the Roadkill show, like a lot of it was definitely like actual work. But then there was a lot of like, they weren't there start to finish on the build.
Right.
The film crew wasn't. So there was a lot of stuff that we would just kind of run with and do, and then the film crew would show up and they'd be like, yeah, we kind of wanted to film you guys doing that, so
you got to take it apart.
We're going to need you to take that back apart and go put it back in so we can film that.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I mean, it's all good. It was fun. I mean, it was definitely a fun experience, but it's just, it's not like working on monster trucks or race cars on TV where you got a job to do and you're just happen to be getting filmed while you're doing it. It's, your job is to make a film.
So that whole process of you guys building General Mayhem, that race was actually between Roadkill and Gas Monkey Garage at a street race held at the old abandoned Pontiac Silverdome.
It wasn't a street race. It was that's a
debatable,
not popular term apparently in today's world. It was not a street race. It was an organized no prep race in the parking lot of the Pontiac Silverdome.
But it was badass, honestly.
It was cool. No, it was definitely cool, but it was not a street race. It was 100% not a street race. It was just a makeshift drag strip that they set up in a parking lot and
off you went.
Have at it. And it was cool. Like that race was just like one part of the event. I mean, they had cars running all day. They
also had the throw ride experience with the Hellcats and the Vipers.
It was just a sign-in deal. You sign in, drag your car in there, and go make laps. There's nothing competitive about it. It was just making runs to say that you did it, right?
And to think that, that event wasn't sketchy enough, because I remember there's a dude in a T-bucket that his brakes faded or something. He went straight into the barrier wall at the very end of the strip.
Oh, yeah.
So if that wasn't any worse, Roadkill and Dodge decided the very next year, the second time they go to do it, we're going to close off Woodward Avenue in Detroit. And
that was the better way to do it, honestly. There was a lot more shutdown. Like, the thing at the Silverdome was just sketchy, where they had an actual, decent stretch of pavement. It was an 8-mile track with about 300 feet of shutdown. Not really, but it seemed like it just didn't have enough shutdown. And then they didn't have anything because they ran it right into the road at the end of the lot. So it wasn't like they could even put anything. They had to just put a wall there and go, oh, hope you don't hit that.
But one of the cool things about Roadkill and that whole entire event was because you took that high school car that you had what, 20s on, put a shot of nitrous on an old LT1. That thing had what, over 200,000 miles or something on it?
No, it was like 100. It had 160 on it.
The block's still in my garage. You know that, right?
Odometer out of it.
Your block is still in my garage. We need to make a table or something out of it.
Yeah, no,
but
or burn it. That's what all it's good for.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of want to talk about the wagon a little bit because we need to talk about the wagon. The wagon is so iconic, man. The wagon is so perfect. So he's got a 96 Buick Roadmaster with a wood paneling on side, beige, and he decided to shove a big block in this thing. On nitrous. On something that looks like old Grandma Beatrice drove the bingo every single Sunday night. And honestly, I wish we had footage of it because when I went and watched you drive that thing at Roadkill Nights, hearing the announcers talk about it was like a comedy roast for his poor car.
It was great.
It was the most amazing thing ever. But why? Just my curiosity is like, I know you've always been a big muscle car guy. You love Chevelles, you love GMs. Why on God's green earth a B-body wagon Roadmaster with the wood paneling?
Well, I've always had a thing for wagons, and you see when you're 17 years old and you're broke as hell, you just find the cheapest thing with a V8 in it and pretend like it's a race car.
Could have get a cop car, an old Crown Vic.
Yeah, but that's not a wagon. I wanted a wagon.
That's fair.
And I wanted a cheap wagon, and I wanted a cheap wagon that already had a V8 in it. Roadmaster.
Fair enough.
Full frame V8 wagon, not unibody bullcrap.
Fair enough. But now, so what is the current situation? Because you've raced. We saw there was a couple videos that tweeted.
The wagon?
Yeah. What?
Oh, it blown up. It big blown up.
How? When you say blown up, like what are we talking here? Like sent the rod to God, or like?
No, it wasn't that bad. No, it hurt it. It wiped a camshaft, and yeah.
Yikes.
And then again, you'll figure out here in about a month, you don't have time to build a race car at home when you're building a race car on the road.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm going to transition to, because now we can start talking about the big time racing. So how is it that you went from, working at a shop where you're building kind of just custom hot rods here and there, building your own race car, and then now you are literally in the big leagues for NHRA Top Fuel. So like, what was that whole transition like? Like, what was your steps to get in there? Because with monster trucks, it's very simple. It's very much get your feet in the door, volunteer. Eventually, someone may pick you up and like you, and you tour the road. I feel like NHRA, like being the big leagues, like there is a lot more of a process to get your foot in the door there.
There is and there isn't. I'm not gonna tell anybody that there's a right and a wrong path to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And this doesn't just go for drag racing. This goes for NASCAR, IndyCar, any professional racing. Mm-hmm. Monster Jam even kind of similar. There's so many different paths you can take to get there. Mm-hmm. There's guys on our team that went to college and then just never drag raced until college, started playing around, and then when they graduated they knew somebody at the school that knew somebody on a race team, and there they are. I was terrible in school. I should not have been in public school. I didn't do that. So I wasn't going to go to college. I knew that wasn't an option. So no, I just you start work your way up, right? Mm-hmm. So you work at a speed shop when you're in high school, whatever. Start playing with cars.
I worked at an auto.
Start playing with race cars, and then just time at the track. I went from bracket racing every weekend to I was still bracket racing every weekend, but then at the trip met a guy that had a pro mod or a top sportsman car it was. Mm-hmm. Started going to a couple races here and there with that guy. You do that, you start going to, not necessarily national event level with that car, but you start going to a little bit more races, with more cars and faster cars. So you do that, and, I met this guy with a pro mod. All right, go work on pro mod. Mm-hmm. All right, go to some bigger pro mod races. Now I'm going to start go work on an alcohol car, top alcohol dragster. I did that for 2 seasons. You know, and then it just kind of fell into place. You know, I was looking for work, looking to change things up. The weekend of the Brainerd national event in 2019, and so did that, and went out there just looking for a job. Fortunately, the girl that runs the alcohol car that I worked for is friends with a guy that worked for Coletta, and they're like, hey, this is like, just I wanted to introduce you if you guys need something, like awesome crew guy, yada yada yada. And then it went from, oh, well, now that you mention it, we do need a cylinder head guy. Like now. Like, yes, last, like 2 races ago, we needed a cylinder head guy. So it, and then it just snowballed from there.
So it's just been this nonstop snowball effect for ever since.
Yeah.
Just kind of starting one way. That, honestly, dude, that's awesome. Because, I mean, you've been through a lot. I know that. We don't need to get into all that on, you know, social media.
Yeah, he's a piece of garbage.
Oh no. Like we both have our skeletons in our closet. Trust me, my wife knows about most of them. But we don't need to get into all that. But honestly, dude, like I could honestly say, like I'm super incredibly proud of you to seeing how far you've came.
Don't patronize me.
Whatever. Take a damn compliment. This is live. But, and then, honestly, okay, so now that we're in NHRA and Top Fuel, one of the biggest things that you guys do, or that I'm going to be learning how to do, is literally after every single run, the engine is completely torn down.
Yeah.
So, and that's the video that we had that you were able to send to us. You actually had, it's a GoPro video of, like, literally the GoPro on your chest, I'm assuming, showing what it is that you do, like, as soon as the car comes back after a pass, correct? Yes. So literally, as you go ahead and just kind of explain everything that's going on, like what you're doing, what your job is.
So car comes in, first thing, you know, cylinder head wise, first thing we're gonna do is pull the fuel line off the back. Reason for that, and you'll see, you know, before they start a car up, they'll spin the motor over. You want to make sure there's no nitro in the car before you go to start it again. It's a super volatile fuel, so like there's times where with no ignition whatsoever, you know, they would go to spin the car over on the starter and it'll blow a head off the car, right off the car. So car comes in, we're gonna pull the mud flap off, pull the sticker panel off, down low, drop the belly pan. The rack guy will start draining oil. You know, I'm getting all of our restraints off for the supercharger. Pro jack pin in. Then we'll start getting the valve cover off, get the puke tank off the back, get the plug wires out, pull the valve cover off. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
That's okay. You just don't forget to breathe. Good Lord.
So and this is all just like one aspect of it. You know, while all this is going on, there's another guy on the other side of the car, obviously doing the other cylinder head. The guy to your left, screen left, that's our clutch guy, so he'll pull the clutch out of the car, pull the bell housing off, pull the clutch out. And then you got the bottom end guy, and then the rack guy down low. They'll get the oil drain, get the diaper off, get the belly pan off, pull the oil pan. That way when we get the top end of the motor pulled apart, the rack's ready to come out, your rods and pistons, we'll push those out. Basically, we're taking it down to a bare block every time.
So my question is...
Minus crank and camshaft stays in it.
Do you by chance remember what race this was at? Like where...
One of the 15 Indy races that we did through COVID.
You went to Indianapolis how many times?
A lot. Normally it's once a year for the U.S. Nationals, but when COVID happened, most of the teams are based out of Indy, so, and their restrictions for crowd capacity and all that wasn't that strict. So we just ran a bunch of races at Indy. We ran like 6-7 races at Indy that year.
Well, that must have been nice. Everything's really relatively close. I mean, you know, Indianapolis is about, what, 6-7 hours away from the shop? 5 hours?
5 hours, it's not far.
Yeah, which isn't bad whatsoever. I gotta say, since everybody here on the show knows what it's like working on monster trucks and how unorganized it is, seeing all these tables, all the tools, everything has an organized place where to go. Everybody knows exactly what they're working on. Nobody's running over each other or stiff arming each other. Like
this is heaven to me.
Tweety's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen the Paxton shop. We're pretty organized.
You have to. I mean, we get, qualifying days are pretty relaxed. We'll get, 2 runs a day, and you're only, 2 hours or so between runs. Those are pretty relaxed. But, if you get in a situation where you really need to start thrashing, everything's got to have a place. I mean, when we went to Houston this year, we ended up running the race on Monday.
Really?
Race got so we ran first round, except us. They ran every pair of top fuel. We were the last pair of first round. They ran every single pair except us, and then the rain came. So Monday morning, they're like, all right, well, we're not really going to hold the whole show up for one car. So we'll run first round at 9 o'clock, and second round needs to be in the lanes at like 9:45.
So this is something I really want to talk about. So how, do you know exactly how big the superchargers are on these nitro cars? Because we would typically run an 871, and typically one person can essentially pick one of those up.
No, you cannot pick one up. I mean, well, especially with the manifold on it. So we'll pull it off with the manifold. So that adds a lot of weight. I mean, you have a lot of fuel system stuff on the manifold, different fuel lines, distribution blocks. I mean, there's a block that goes to like 6 different places on the back of the manifold. I mean, there's a lot of weight once you add the manifold. The blower itself and even the manifold itself separately, not that heavy. The blowers are they're long. The snout's long, so they're just too awkward. You couldn't pick one up by yourself, but they're pretty light.
So when this thing is completely torn down all the way to a bare block, what is able to be reused?
Depends. So everything is, there's not much on the car, spark plugs, for example, are one of them, but there's not a lot on the car that's like a one-time use kind of thing, necessarily. Everything on it has a runnable spec, and that doesn't mean that after one run that it's junk. That just means that you can't run it again till you check it. So we just have everything ready to go. We at the track throughout a race weekend, everything's new, right? Everything goes in it new. Just because you don't have time during the weekend racing
to check everything
to try to service everything. So it's easier to just bang, there's your new stuff ready to go. We get back to the shop, we'll deal with it.
Gage, I want to jump in here. I want to ask you a question real quick. There's a comment down in the comment section from Jeremy Parsons saying, I bet they have 1,000 10mm sockets on the team. And with y'all being sponsored by Mac Tools, I'm sure y'all got plenty of 10mm sockets laying around, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of everything. We have tool overload. When we go through a tool, we call it donating it to the school children, and we got a backup stash that's ready to go if we ever break anything.
You know where we would get our tools from at Monster Jam?
What was that?
Harbor Freight.
Nice. I mean, that's, yeah.
Lifetime warranty is a lifetime warranty.
Man.
Pretty much. You guys got any more questions about Nitro? Anybody in the comments? Anybody at all? Making sure nobody fell asleep.
I'm having a good time over here, man. I know Harley's doing her research right now on some NHRA stuff, but see what we call that Monster Jam, the organized chaos of, just scrambling behind the scenes, putting trannies back in the trucks, doing whatever we got to do to get truck back together. But when it came time to swapping an engine, there was nobody more critical, more impatient with stuff being taken apart and not being in the right spot than myself. I think there's video footage of us doing an engine swap, I think on Jester, and I'm flustered almost the whole time I go to set something down. It's just, I enjoy being organized when it comes to doing engine swaps, and seeing that video footage right there, that was like, I don't know, I feel like I was in heaven for a moment, seeing how organized everything is. And I know to a certain extent, there's going to be, like we said, organized chaos. There's going to be some stuff that's not there in the right spot at the right time, but I think y'all got a good pattern down. At least y'all work together well.
Motor swaps are fun.
Yeah, so actually, let's do this real quick. Cooper, what is the record at Paxton for doing an engine swap?
Like 68 minutes.
how fast do you have to swap an engine and get everything torn down, built up?
If we have to swap it?
Well, for them, it's like 30
what we
to
just saw, build it
20
back
something
up,
minutes.
Torn down, build back up. How long do you have?
I mean, like I said, it depends on if it's qualifying or race day and how tough. Like if it's like, and two, the NHRA will do like 10 or 12 live TV races a year. So then there's live TV turnarounds. So they crunch you harder.
Right, so that's what we call like a thrash. So when the pressure's on and it is race day, and you can get that thing rebuilt, ready to go for like next round, whether it's like semifinals or finals.
Well, physical work on the car. So we change head gaskets every run, and part of that is, again, going back to the just checking parts out. But another part of that is we'll change the thickness of the gasket, depending on the air quality. So your crew chief is going to want the closest air to runtime that you can get. So if physical work wise, we can do it in like 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Torn down, built back up, 20 minutes.
No.
Yeah, eat
Well,
it, Max.
listen.
Well, to be fair, we also only have like one guy on each thing. So it's like one guy does
More organized.
Yeah, basically you've got like 3 or 4 guys. You got somebody on the transmission, someone on the blower, someone on the headers, someone on a backhoe.
And a lot of that's going to depend too on the short block. if it's serviceable, then that the short block guy is going to have some work to do in between rounds. If it's serviceable, if it's not serviceable, and we pull it, then if we have to pull the block, then that speeds all that up even more. So then going back together takes a little bit long, because pulling it apart, you're just ripping it apart. You're throwing nuts and
that's
whatever.
easy.
Yeah, you're putting back together. You actually gotta take your time, torque everything, make sure you're going in the right order, all that. There's
torque specs?
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. We don't know what torque specs are in monster trucks. It's tight.
Torque specs on spindle bolts on a monster truck is the number 2 setting on the impact gun.
No, we took that serious in the Paxton shop, all right?
Yep, couple Ugga Thuggas, for sure.
I had to put a battery in.
Yeah, I quit the torque setting stuff and I just went straight to the Ugga Duggas on the half-inch impact. But that's just me. Now, we did get a question. I thought this was a good question to ask you, Gage, in the comment section. Who would you say your biggest sponsor, or not your biggest sponsor, sorry. Who would you say your biggest competitor is on the tour? I know you probably don't want to talk about one team specifically, but who are some of your top competitors that y'all are up against with Team Mac Tools and Team DHL?
Well, on the dragster side, it's
Milliken.
It's an elephant in the room. You can't not talk about it. It's definitely Capco, definitely Torrance. I mean, they're onto something, and they got a program figured out. There's Josh Hart is a new one that just came on the scene, and he's been killing it. I mean, absolutely. He made his Top Fuel debut in Gainesville this year, won the thing.
Holy crap.
Killing it. Any of your John Force racing cars, they're always going to throw down. Don Schumacher's cars, they're going to throw down.
So there's a heavy set. Like, there's not particularly one team we got to watch out for. Like, there's a good set of guys.
Yeah, I just saw Jeremy's comment. Yep, Tony Stewart's coming out next year with a dragster in Leah, and then Matt Hagan driving the funny car. So that'll be a powerhouse team for sure. Tony Stewart's very successful in racing. He's not going to play around. So that team will likely get up and going very quickly. But even, that's why we race. I mean, they're 10,000 horsepower. Anything can happen. It's not, to say that there's heavy hitters and there's not heavy hitters. Anybody out there can easily make a day of it. There's in Denver this year, we had a lower budget team go to the final round and never pulled a head off the car. Jeez. Ran the same set of heads, the same rack, same
insane.
blower, all day.
That is crazy. That is absolutely insane.
All day.
Cooper, has your camera died yet?
No, I just replaced the battery.
Oh, there he is.
Live on air? Nice.
Live on air.
You look like you're in trouble.
Don't mess around.
He's in trouble.
No, she just got home. She brought Mexican.
Hey.
It's gonna be a good dinner.
Hands on her hips. That's usually a bad sign.
Chimichanga.
Yeah,
No,
we are running pretty
smiling.
late.
Yeah. We are running a lot longer than normal. We usually typically run this only in an hour. We're at over an hour and a half right now. So, I mean, we had a lot to talk about. A lot of drag racing. Talk a little bit about how we knew each other. Drag racing. Honestly, I'm excited. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. But honestly,
2 more days of box throwing.
Yeah, 2 more days of being a box chucker. Then I get to go and.
That's fitting for you.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna find you, Taylor.
What did Taylor do now? Oh, I'm assuming we didn't make over $500 from the giveaway. Coop still here. Good Lord. He does not like you.
Nah, we'll have a boxing match.
You got to find him first. Actually, I have his address. I can give it to you.
No need. Oh, I'm an expert bounty hunter.
Well, anyway, I think that basically covers most of it. I mean, if anything, we could probably have you or even some of the other guys from the team to kind of come on if you think that's a good idea. Maybe.
We're a rowdy bunch.
We'll see.
I'll let you make that call. We'll see you at work on Monday, and I'll let you make that call.
All right. Sounds fair enough. But Coop, Tweety, Harley, that does it for me over here. So what you guys got?
I got one more thing I want to talk about just briefly. So, obviously, with a comment from Dan's Monster Adventures.
That's
first
what I was
quarter
gonna
2022 is just right around the corner, baby. We are so close. We think first quarter of 2022 is going to be really good to us. It's going to be really good to you fans, doing everything we can to get y'all some behind-the-scenes footage and obviously footage of some shows because you ain't going to be seeing anything on Monster Jam on TV, so you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff through our channel. But we're really excited.
Yeah.
Something I'm especially pumped for is we're going to start something that nobody's ever really done before. This is an idea I had a long time ago that I think, in Spence talking to Taylor Andes, really kind of like motivated him to kind of put the push on this, which is to start some type of monster truck fantasy league. So we're going to kind of attempt to do that this next year. Don't get me wrong, it's probably going to be an utter disaster, a complete train wreck, but we got to start somewhere. We got to find the kinks in the system. We got to get them worked out. So that's what we're going to do this first quarter. With that being said, next Thursday, remember next week we're starting on Mondays and Thursdays now. We're no longer Sundays and Wednesdays. Next Thursday, we'll be having the first ever live Monster Truck, or I guess I should say Monster Jam draft, where everyone on the show will be having our own teams, and we'll be drafting our own fantasy teams live on the air. So do not miss next Thursday, and then obviously Monday we'll just kind of be talking, getting everybody pumped up for first quarter, maybe talking about some predictions that we got going into, because we got shows next weekend, y'all. First quarter is basically here, so we're pumped. Huge shout out to High Octane Coffee for sending us a nice little care package. And then make sure y'all check out Vixen Industries as well. But other than that, that's all I got, y'all. So remember, when in doubt, throttle out. Go to thethrottleoutshow.com, grab some merch, check out America TV on YouTube, and we will see y'all on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.